Hello and welcome to STI Love to Drive. Once again, we are in my garden, but this time with a slightly more positive story compared to the last one about Honda and India's Tata Corporation. So we'll be talking a little bit about Subaru this time around. And there have been a number of articles recently about how Subaru is coming back to market with some performance options. Most importantly, one of which appears to be a hatchback. So those articles generally seem to point back to this one, which is an interview with the CTO of Subaru, Tetsuro Fujinuki, and he's interviewed by Mitsuhiro Kunisawa. So I'm going to read a little bit of the interview and link it below, but I think it's very important to understand why this may actually seem feasible now. And some of you may already know, but I had suspected all along, based upon things that I'd heard, that Subaru effectively had to stop producing its high-performance engines, things like the STI, because of issues with emissions. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Okay, thanks to strong performance of hybrids and BEVs, manual transmission sports cars are making a comeback. And you may have noticed I now have a microphone here. Hopefully the audio is slightly better this time around. It's windy, my AC is running. There's some pretty sweet cars that live near here that may drive by, but we'll see how this works out. I don't know. Okay, so Kunisawa, the interviewer, he leads with, "Thank you for the interview. Let's skip the seasonal greetings and get straight to the point. The industry is in an uproar because you suddenly unveiled 3 new manual transmission sport models. What kind of cars are they?" Fujinuki responds, "The new car plans are confidential, but here we are with 3 photos lined up. It was the PR person's decision. It's hard to tell from the silhouettes, but I think it's a sedan, a coupe, and a 5-door hatchback." Kunisawa, "Apparently everything will be a 2.4 liter, and there will also be a manual transmission option. Up till now, Subaru has said they couldn't make high-performance turbo engines with poor fuel economy due to CAFE. Potentially pronounced CAFE, but it is the corporate average fuel economy regulations. Have they given up on CAFE?" Fujinuki, "That's right. No, I don't mean that we don't have to comply. In fact, until 2 years ago, CAFE regulations were very strict, and we couldn't pursue power with the current 2.4 liter engine installed in the WRX S4. In that situation, when we released a fuel-efficient, strong hybrid, it turned out better than expected and sales have been strong. So, for all the hybrid owners, keep buying. That's awesome. Furthermore, electric vehicles are also starting to sell well." It's kind of crazy that in order for the really cool cars to continue to be produced, there has to be adoption of the electric cars, but it is what it is. That's where we are. Let's see if there's anything else. That's really what I wanted to point out. They're acknowledging the fact that they couldn't produce these cars because of regulations, and now, as a result of the hybrid sales and electric vehicles, it seems feasible we may again see maybe an STI. I'm not sure how they would badge it in the US, and the assumption that I'm bringing to this is Subaru is talking about this on a global scale, but it may just apply to the Japanese market. Who knows? Time will tell, but let me see here. Here's an interesting quote from Kunisawa. "The world is steadily moving towards carbon neutrality by 2050. However, there are still 24 years until 2050. If we assume the lifespan of a car is 15 years, then most cars will be electric vehicles from around 2035. For the 9 years until then, sports cars or sports models can still be sold. So why not enjoy the engine? And Fujinuki responds, "That's right. And what's more, Subaru's development system has changed drastically recently. We've created a production innovation headquarters and established a sports vehicles planning office specializing in sports models. We decided to abandon the old way of doing things because it's boring. We'd have a confirmation meeting, then another meeting, and then they'd bring out similar materials again. So we tried developing it entirely digitally, and it turned out we could do quite a lot. As a result, our development speed increased, and we were able to do more daring things." Interesting. So that's how we ended up with 3 cars all at once, is what Kunisawa responded with. It looks like they're set to be released potentially by 2027. Some awesome ad just popped up on my phone, and it's blocking the article. So by the way, that article, as you may have noticed, was released in July. It was July 2nd. With this in mind, it's entirely possible I may trade the Acura in within a couple years, or sell it, and then if they do come out with a new STI hatch, possibly buy that, because as much as I love the Integra and the way it drives, it's just, it kind of annoys me every single time that it's not all-wheel drive. And it would be such an incredible car if it was just all-wheel drive. I can't stress that enough. Like, the fact that they have to put these insane tires on it, 265s, and super advanced suspension system, very advanced LSD, and it still struggles to put the power down, is just, it's wasteful in my opinion. Like, why produce the power if with all of the other technology that you've brought to the platform, it still doesn't bring it to the level where it could be? I don't know, sorry, it's a little bit of a rant, but I feel like it is kind of relevant. So yeah, if they do come out with a new STI hatch and it's decent and doesn't have a bunch of problems, I would probably consider buying it in the second model year. Anyway, just a few of my thoughts on the matter, and you know, a bit more of a positive story compared to that Honda horror show. So thanks for joining me. Drop a comment if you have an opinion or thoughts on the situation, and would you consider buying a new STI? Take care. Have a great weekend or week. Peace.